Horrifying revelations of extreme emotional and physical abuse at Diddy's nightmare workplace were revealed as his 5 former employees finally spoke up. Sean Diddy Combs is known for always making headlines with his unpredictable actions, from secret freak-off parties to old videos that surface and reveal a new, mind-boggling reality about the infamous billionaire's life. In this video, we'll uncover the latest hot topic adding to Diddy's laundry list of scandals, starting from the resurfacing of shocking surveillance camera footage to former employees coming forward one after another, revealing the gruesome reality of a culture of threats they faced while working for Diddy. Buckle up, folks, because you wouldn't want to miss out on this tea. In June 2024, the hip-hop superstar Sean Combs had a new label added to his long list of not-so-friendly names: an abuser. How? Well, it starts with a hint of pettiness and is evident in leaked CCTV footage of a Los Angeles hotel of Diddy running after his ex-girlfriend Cassie in the hallway and dragging her across the floor.
Combs, wearing only a towel, assaulting his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hallway at a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016.
Not only that, but he's clearly drunk as he throws hotel decor at her, all while cursing her. This video shocked the world, but perhaps it wasn't as surprising to the fans keeping tabs on Diddy's updates. Sean Combs has been accused multiple times of violent and uncontrollable behaviors after Cassie, his ex-girlfriend, filed a lawsuit against him last November. It's like the list of accusations just keeps on getting longer, from engaging in assault, violent dragging, and heck, even trafficking operation.
Allegations startlingly similar that track those that have been made in Cassie Ventura's lawsuit and in the lawsuit by another individual who worked for Combs, that tell these stories of people being brought in the presence of weapons and drugs and so on.
Now, after the backlash Diddy faced from that surveillance video, 5 of his former employees from Diddy's lifestyle brand Sean John and Blue Flame got the courage to speak up about the famous rapper's abusive behavior in his workplace in an interview with the Daily Beast, keeping their identities anonymous.
Rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs tonight as more companies announce they've cut ties with the bad boy CEO.
One such incident was reported by his female ex-employee in her interview, who revealed that Sean Combs just violently grabbed her jaw in an argument where she disagreed with him on a creative decision. She quotes, "He didn't like that I wasn't agreeing with him, and he wasn't interested in hearing my point of view." This was Combs' attempt to shadow the actual designer and put her down. He even said, "When you speak to me, you should imagine that you're talking to Karl Lagerfeld," claiming that he had the same fashion sense as the famous designer Karl, to which the employee didn't say anything. But this wasn't all. She explains how Sean, in response to her silence, grabbed her face and yelled at her to stick her tongue out, all the while squeezing it harder and harder. How disgraceful! When asked about their reviews of the leaked abuse footage, all ex-staffers had the same response. They were sad it took this long for the world to see Diddy's real face, but also hopeful that perhaps he will finally get what he deserves.
Knowing him and knowing her and having worked for him, my feeling was that it was just all about him. It was his worst day. It was his. I'm like,
that he said the lowest point
the
he'd
lowest
ever reached.
point. You know what? I think she reached a much lower point.
Another employee told the Daily Beast that he was fired simply for making eye contact with the rapper. Talk about being sensitive. Apparently, Diddy was hours late to a meeting, and when he finally showed up, the employee was clearly frustrated, and frankly, anyone would be. But when he made eye contact with Sean with the same disappointed expression, he took it personally and fired him on the spot. The ex-staffer further quotes, "There was erratic behavior. There was definitely what I would consider mental abuse with how he spoke to us as employees. It was hell at the workplace because the staff was often overworked and heavily disrespected. They reported having to work 16 hours a day, often from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. because the boss said so and what they got in return. Profanities to their face, an abusive workplace, and occasional physical attacks, not to mention the internal politics with the employees, with one throwing the other under the bus to stay in Sean's good books. He further added, "When people ask me about it, I always tell them it was the worst experience I ever had in my life." Another employee recalled the incident when, during a meeting, the lead designer informed Diddy of how his team was overwhelmed with extra work and was unable to complete a project before the deadline. At this, Diddy got so upset that he stopped the presentation in the middle, walked up to the employee a little too close, and practically spat on his face, saying, "Say it one more time." It was clear that Diddy doesn't like anyone stepping on his tail, and what he said should be considered a God's decree that can never be wrong. In one of Fashion Week's episodes, the same employee saw Sean with a new girl and, out of curiosity, asked Sean John's CEO, Jeffrey Tweedy, about her. Tweedy was taken aback and quickly told him not to ask such questions.
You look to the left?
Yeah, Diddy got so
What you got on today? Love, come on.
But it was too late, as Diddy had already heard their conversation. He didn't do anything on the spot, but when the event was over and the employee thanked Combs for the invitation, it ended quite differently. The ex-staffer claims Diddy forcibly grabbed him and shoved him into the elevator, saying, "We want this to work out. You can't ask questions like that. This is New York." What a polite way to say you're welcome. Another of Sean John's ex-employees explains the details of the suffocating environment there. He shares his insight on how the entire organization seemed to be operating on fear and anxiety. It was like walking on eggshells all the time, with the lowest employee retention they'd seen. Additionally, he added how there was a famous term used among coworkers, catching a brick, for whenever an employee got on Diddy's red line. It was as if you're walking down the street and someone randomly throws a brick at your head out of the blue, the ex-employee defines. Then he adds on to how he caught his first brick. The ex-staffer said that Combs had a habit of getting mad at employees for something he thought they did, but that was rarely the case, and that's exactly what happened with him. He recalls how Combs kept verbally abusing me until I was surrounded by security guards who rushed over while he's 6 inches from my face, screaming at me, telling me I f***ed up.
He was like, "Emotional singing, there you are." And I just was like, oh, he's talking to me.
Another messed up rule that Diddy's employees had to follow was blind loyalty to Combs without a question, and this was also one of the most disturbing parts of Cassie's lawsuit. The employees were told to keep their mouths shut upon seeing Sean Combs violently abusing his ex-girlfriend and even stopping her from escaping the office premises whenever she tried. One of the complaints stated that Mr. Combs' aggressive and demanding approach to those he worked with made it impossible for anyone to challenge him. Another ex-employee from Blue fame shared her not-so-pleasant experience of working with Sean Combs and his biased hatred toward his female employees. She shared there was a lot of cursing, a lot of talking to people crazy, a lot of calling women saying "f*** you" or "stupid" or "I'll fire y'all right now." Sean had been accused several times of being racist and acting like a disrespectful mogul to his workers who did not share the same power or status. An important thing to note here is that not all the employees who spoke with the Daily Beast were against Diddy. Some shared that they do not relate to the experience claimed by others. However, they still agree with the toxicity in the workplace and the abnormal working hours that pushed everyone on edge. Another former female employee mentioned that it was all about learning how to work with Combs to survive in the workplace and shared how she was inspired by how he lives up to everything. She further shared that the workplace was filled with rumors about Diddy being rude and disrespectful toward his employees and abusive toward his ex-girlfriend, and she never witnessed anything like that. At last, the ex-staffer was thankful that she no longer had to get her hands dirty in Diddy's mud parade. If working with Diddy was such a trial, then how come he never ran out of the workforce? Well, that's because the rich rapper-turned-businessman knew how to inspire young black entrepreneurs who had big ambitions and were filled with passion and got them to work for him. Little did they know. That's all the scoop on the trending hits against Sean Diddy Combs. Make sure to check out our other videos and subscribe to our channel to stay in the loop with all the drama.